so-called reconciliation between us and Indonesia and between us among Timorese. I will dwell with that in a minute. So in this table here, you see the highlights of different constitutional governments with their own key policy measures. As you know, Timor-Leste, when we first got our independence, we had nothing. We had to rely on donors meeting every 6 months. I remember Dr. Al-Katiri, back then as a prime minister, he had to go and present every 6 months to the donors meeting, seeking for money to develop our country, because we had nothing, starting from the ashes, from the zero. But since then, after learning from different countries, especially from Norway and so on, then Petroleum Fund was established. And that's why now we call Sovereign Wealth Fund. And of course, over the past 25 or 26 years, there were a period of ups and downs. Let alone a country like Timor-Leste with zero infrastructure, with very limited capacity in human resources, no financial resources, but our people are resilient. That's why we, the G7+, we say this to the world: don't undermine us. Don't undermine us simply because we're small or we are poor. No, we are resilient in our struggle, we are resilient in our mindset. That's why we survived over the past 24 years under the previous regime. I say this not to offend our brothers and sisters from Indonesia, but you were also faultless. It was the regime who made us all suffer. You also suffer, we also suffer from this island. So ladies and gentlemen, next I'd like to go to the next stage in the interest of time. What is Timor-Leste's status on the global stage? Now, since 1999, Timor-Leste has rebuilt from ashes into a functioning democracy. As I said, Dr. Maria Al-Katiri, and then after that, Mambo Chanana came into power, and then successive governments came afterwards, created core state institutions. They created CAR, created Comissão Função Pública, created all sorts of different state institutions. And also they created a very innovative measure, which is a sovereign wealth fund, which is petroleum fund. And now we are one of the few countries that rely on the petroleum fund to fund our development needs. And also there are some slightly improved health and education standards. And one of the highlights of this governance is maintaining peace and stability. And from the G7+ side, we believe this: there can be no development without peace, and there can be no peace without development. It is in that context that when the president stood here, when he said, let's set up a university in the border, you know, what is the sine qua non precondition for that? It is peaceful atmosphere before we create anything. If there is no peace, forget it. It won't last. That's the example of other countries that we learn. And thank God, because of the stability that we enjoyed, we now became a global player and voice for fragile states in different multilateral and regional organizations, namely the G7+, WTO, CPLP, and soon we are going to join ASEAN. It's just a matter of time. It's not anymore about if, but it is a matter of when. And I believe that leaders of ASEAN look at the criteria of the 3 different pillars of ASEAN. Timor-Leste has completed some of the requirements of those 3 pillars. But we still have a long way off to go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as academics, I'd like to share with you this Global Peace Index done by Institute for Economics and Peace, a global think tank based in Sydney. Out of 163 countries that they did research about the most peaceful countries on earth and the least peaceful countries on earth, just for the sake of them, Doesn't one of you know which country is the most peaceful country in the world at the moment? Norway, that's close enough. Finland, yes, Norway, again Norway. Nordic country, yeah. Iceland, yes. Thank you. Singapore is also. So when you look at the table there, number one is Iceland. Professor here mentioned Singapore. Singapore is number 5 there, yeah. And you may wonder, where is Timor-Leste? Timor-Leste is standing at the 51st out of 163 countries, perceived as one of the most peaceful countries in the world. We should be proud of it. And on the other side of the coin, if you ask me, so which countries are the least peaceful in the world? I have to hide below the table because, unfortunately, some of the countries of G7 Plus belong to the bottom ladder of the least peaceful countries in the world, including Somalia, Afghanistan, DRC, and you name it. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that we are not moving up. We are going soon. It's just that that's the rank that people perceive. Next, please. As Timorese, we should also be proud. Look at the Freedom House, the study that was done by the Freedom in the World Press. Timor-Leste ranks 72 out of 100 points, yeah? And if you look at this map, the 3 different colors there, yeah? Green and kind of like dark green, orange, yeah? Or light orange. Look at Timor-Leste, the green one. It's the only country that is free in Southeast Asia. Yeah. Look at Indonesia. Look at Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei, and so on. So, as an academic, we should be proud of it. Yeah. So I'm bringing you these kind of things just to know why. Because sometimes you fight for peace, but on the other side of the world, people sometimes, they take it for granted. Peace dividends is a very costly exercise. That's what we need to preserve, maintain, and sustain. Next, please. Now, in terms of corruption perception index, we're not doing badly, actually. I wish the Anti-Corruption Commission is here, but Timor-Leste stands a little bit higher than the global average. It is scored about 44 out of 100. But it ranks 73rd out of 180 countries. And over the past, since 2023, it increased by 1 point. So this is just to show you that the corruption perception index for Timor-Leste is slightly increased. Next, please. Now, since we are here in the academic environment, I would also like to share with you another interesting study that we, the G7 Plus, are part of. We mentioned about multidimensional fragility. Now, when countries that are categorized fragile, means that it's like a vicious cycle. The question is that how you turn the vicious cycle into a virtuous cycle. Now, from the OECD definition or categorization of fragility, they categorize it into 6 dimensions, namely economic, environmental, human, political, security, societal. You see the figure there, it's color coordination. Now, where is Timor-Leste standing here? Out of 61 countries, the one that in the circle, semicircle there, Timor-Leste is standing in the number 2 there. We are doing very well in terms of environmental, political, societal. The only thing that we are not doing well or flare badly is about economic, which is true. This is something that in the end I will mention about what are the possible measures for us to improve about our economic diversification. So this study is done every year. That's what they call OECD Fragility Report. Back in 2022, Timor-Leste was declared out of fragile states. But 2022, unfortunately, we are back again because of the crisis, politically, economically, and sorry, this is English too sophisticated. But I can talk to you in Bahasa Indonesia later on. So, for those who are interested, please Google this report. It's available online everywhere. You can easily access to do research on multidimensional fragility. So you can see the Timor-Leste is no longer categorized as extreme fragile. Yeah? So we are on this left part of the semicircle, which is we are on the way out towards resilience. That's why we are very pleased. Sometimes, you know, people ask me, it's about sempre para promover bacon. Sorry, this is about that. We are rich in terms of language, yeah. It was to promove G7 Plus Timor-Leste and Laos fragile, ASEAN. It's not about fragility. It is about the reality that we are going through. We cannot deny our fact. As if like a young boy, we are only 25 years old, right? Yeah. So still need some coaching, yeah? Need some capacity building. Right, next please. Just fast track, you can see the key indicators of socioeconomics, and this is where I want to say that Timor-Leste's Human Development Index for 2022 is 0.566, placing is in the medium development category. So when you see in the graph there, Timor-Leste is located in the middle out of so many countries that are observed in this graph. So we are not doing really badly. We are relatively doing them. That's why, if you remember, Mambo Chanana always says this: "Ita la dia kliu rai sil seluk, mabe ita mos la at liu rai sil seluk." So we are in the middle somewhere. Next, please. Distinguished colleagues and eminent, esteemed rectors, vice rectors, and professors, I want to share with you the echoes of respect from Timor-Leste's leaders, from Timor-Leste, from the world leaders. But the one that is of high importance to us, I want you to read the one with the President Bambang Susilo Yudhoyono over there. That statement was extracted from a joint paper, a joint event that the G7 Plus organized in New York in the margin of the United Nations General Assembly. President Bambang Yudhoyono at that time didn't go, and he delegated Dino Patijalal, his personal advisor, his former vice minister and former ambassador of Indonesia to the United States. He was the one who delivered this paper, and side by side with Mambor. And there he said, "When people remember Indonesia and Timor-Leste, I hope people will not remember not the conflict, but the courage, the imagination, and the goodwill that turned that conflict into peace." That was back in September 2016 in New York. And since then, both of our leaders, both Timor-Leste and Indonesia, always have this contact relationship. They have this harmonious relationship between the two countries, not only G to G, but also P to P, or people to people, institution to institution, allows exchange of mobility of people, culturally, professionals, academics, health workers, and so on, you name it. Even now, when you go to Kupang from Dili or vice versa, you go with the bus called Bagong, right, on a daily basis. And I used to joke with my former colleague, Mantan Rector Undana, which is my colleague from SMA Negeri 1 with Dr. Inmundu here. We were at the same alma mater from university, from SMA Negeri 1 Kupang. And I said, wow, in the past, when you go to Dili or Kupang, you have to go use the big bemo, but now you can use the luxurious bus, Bagong, yeah? Which is a good sign between two countries on the same island. Yeah? Professor Afonso Almeida mentioned that a nation united, university united by the same island. So This is what our leaders have said. Next, please. Right, so what are the features of its trajectory? From what I just described early on, it is about visionary leadership in pursuing dialogue and stability, and the process of truth and reconciliation for healing and unity, and that is true. And now the biggest challenge is that how do we continue? That's why there is a group of working group from Centro Nacional FECT. They are working to continue promote this dialogue, reconciliation with our brothers and sisters from the other side of the border. And there is a peaceful democratic transition, which is true. Over the past few years, we don't have any political violence compared to like in Guinea-Bissau or Mozambique. Recently, you saw the news and others that after the election, people are burning down everything. But here in Timor-Leste, luckily, and thank God, that we have a very peaceful democratic transition after elections. And now, just to finalize, that we are now active member of various multilateral organizations and regional organizations. The one that came into mind, they are the CPLP, which Timor-Leste is a member. WTO, Timor-Leste just joined WTO last year or 2 years ago. G7 Plus and ASEAN to be decided in May this year. Now, in the interest of time, I just want to jump into why Timor-Leste joins the G7 Plus, because we want to share lessons to other people. Peer learning, and this is founded on the principle of solidarity, voluntarism, and cooperation. And we advocate for context-sensitive development and achieved UN observer status as a small intergovernmental organization, sitting on a par with the European Union, ASEAN, African Union, Pacific Island Forum, you name it, with the World Bank, OECD, and others in the United Nations, in terms of influencing aid and peace-building discourse and architecture. And dare I say that the G7 Plus is the one who is the champion of the goal number 16 of the SDGs, yeah? Building peaceful societies, promote justice and effective institutions. So just a little bit of background information, that the G7 Plus is now 20 countries with 3 offices or headquarters in Dili and a hub in Lisbon. And last year we opened a new office in New York in order to be able to deal with multiple international partners, including diplomats around the world and leaders around the world, to promote Timor-Leste and the G7 Plus in the changing political landscape. Now, in the interest of time, allow me just to jump into the way forward, please. Right. As I mentioned early on, we continue to foster reconciliation where differences remain, not only in the cross-border, but inside Timor-Leste, at the national level and also at the subnational level. Now, one of the points that is very important for us is to diversify the economy and explore the potential. That's why this government and others are now exploring the potential in terms of agriculture, yeah, infrastructure, and also education, investing in education. This is where the university plays a big, important role. And most importantly is pursuing self-reliance in food production through improving agriculture and fisheries and so on. And the most important thing is to accelerate rural development and infrastructure. And let's say that in the next 2 years, perhaps the government is going to promote this decentralization. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, this could also enhance skills development, job creation, and also to create economic resilience for our people in the rural areas. Now, one other important challenge that we face right now is enhancing climate resilience. And climate change affects everyone. It's a borderless. We're talking about science without borders, but at the global level, we're talking about climate without borders. It affects everyone. So we, as a small country, we need to be a little bit more proactive. That's why we, the G7 Plus, we play an important role in asking developing partners, because they are the emitters of carbon dioxide, not small countries. And we need to ask them to cooperate with us. With that note, I'll stop here, but I wanted to say that congratulations to all the academics here and between these 2 institutions, And I hope that with this peaceful environment that we enjoy in our island, we can continue to do research, to do exchange of academics, and to do the lectures and so on, so that we can be proud, show to the people that Timorese are resilient. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Helder Costa, a great leader, yeah, a great thinker, and also a great, I guess, writer. Mr. Helder Costa has used around 26 minutes, which is great. Thank you for your great ideas. You see, I have written down here some, I guess, great words, yes, sentences that all of us should remember, particularly for young students, yeah, that don't underestimate us, yeah. When Mr. Helder Costa says us, I guess it also includes us in West Timor, yeah, in NTT. Yeah. We are resilient, and I guess we have been doing our best, and that's great. Becoming one of 51 of 163 countries, yeah, which is very peaceful. It's great, and congratulations for that. I guess for Timor-Leste. Again, thank you very much, Mr. Helder Costa. We'll have some discussions later on, but then let us move to Professor Jeffrey Bale, who will then talk on the topic Indonesia, Timor-Leste, cross-border education cooperation. Please, Prof. Jeffrey.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, all the audience, students, lecture, staff, and of course, Honorable Rector, and all the leaders committee of UNTL, media, dancer, and of course, steering committee. Okay, I will try to present and discuss our perspective on the title of potential roles, collaboration on education in supporting science development and impact for Indonesia and Timor-Leste, sharing insight as a university leader. Since my major in mechanical engineering, so this is not fully based research on education aspect, but this is also our insight based on experience for 3 or 4 years as a university leader. Me and Professor Mark Sanam as our rector. Next. So first part, of course, is about introduction. So to open this discussion, let us reflect on the fundamental roles and aims of education. So we try to make a brief explanation about the role of education. Education serves 2 primary roles. The first one is fostering scientific advancement, and the second is development of economic, political, sociological, and human resources, both working to bring about change, impact, and pursuit of sustainable development goals. So this is general insight about the role of education. So next, this is very important. when we try to analyze education roles and cooperation between Indonesia and Timor-Leste, Undana, and UNTL, cross-border education emerged not just as a strategy, but also as a fundamental and foundational principle of regional development. So, based on the definition of CBE, 9, 2006, CBE, cross-border education, refers to the movement of people, programs, providers, knowledge, university, institution, ideas, project, and services across national boundaries. Based on the definition of UNESCO 2005, cross-border education is described as higher education that takes place in situations where teacher and student, program, institution, provider, or course material cross national jurisdictional borders. So this is the definition of cross-border education when we try to arrange a collaboration between Indonesia and Timor-Leste in terms of education. So next, this paper aims to, we have 5 aims of this paper, of this thought, or this insight. The first one, explore the current state of education in both countries, elucidate the potential roles of education in supporting science development and its broader impact on Indonesia and Timor-Leste. Yeah, of course, through Undana and UNTL, and also all the university in both countries, especially in Timor-Leste and NTT. Explore the integration of science and into a curriculum. Explore the importance of collaboration between educational institutions. And the last one, highlight the challenge faced and propose actionable recommendation. Next, we came to the second part of this presentation, current state. Okay, next. This is the current state of how both countries manage the higher education aspect. In Indonesia right now, this is the newest policy, namely kampus berdampak. Current state based on government policy 2025, 2025. Impactful Campus is a strategic initiative designed to position higher education institutions as the primary driver in supporting the national development agenda and to integrate higher education with programs that contribute to the success of Astacita. This is the 8 priorities program for our President, Mr. Prabowo, and Mr. Vice President, Bapak Gibran, a national goal based on local wisdom. So from the perspective of Timor-Leste, this is based on research. I don't have enough data based on the policy of higher education management in Timor-Leste, but this is based on research. Sosa Saldana, he's in the DIT, if I make a mistake, 2024. He tried to explain the strategy in higher education of Timor-Leste, divided into 2. Internationalization of higher education has emerged as a transformative strategy for institutions seeking to enhance educational quality, foster global competitiveness, and promote cultural diversity. And also internalization involves integrating global perspective into teaching, research, and service function within higher education institutions. So this is the current state of how the both countries manage the higher education policy or strategy. 2024 based on research, 2025 in Indonesia based on the newest policy of Kampus Berdampak. Next, now this is just an illustrate the role of learning process, research, and community services across sectoral collaboration within Kampus Berdampak policy in Indonesia, aim to address poverty alleviation, food self-sufficiency, community empowerment, economy, and improving access of healthcare services and health facilitation. This is in Indonesia, so how the function of university to make sure Indonesia can reach the goals of national strategy. Next. So this is the third part of our presentation, the role of education in supporting science development. We try to make a policy compliance between campus berdampak and also internationalization and internalization in Timor-Leste. Comparing both countries, current state or strategy, we identify complementary roles and also cooperation aspect that could frame future collaboration activities. The first one is quality and global competitiveness, and the second one is sustainable services as a potential roles of or aspect through collaboration. So there are two main policy compliance between Indonesia and Timor-Leste: quality and global competitiveness, and also sustainable services. Next. The foundation and for equal and of course mutually beneficial collaboration between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. So this is very important for us to understand the principle of cross-border higher education. Yeah, this principle refers to at least 6 principal contributions: strengthen, accessible, standard, opportunities, and informative. This has to be our value if we want to enhance or strengthen our collaboration between Indonesia and Timor-Leste, especially between university of higher education institution or providers. Next. So we try to make explanation about the form and also the activities of collaboration, or we can say regional collaboration in Timor Island, collaboration between educational institutions in Timor Island or in our region. Based on form, there are 3 regional collaboration forms: intra-regional, inter-regional, and trans-regional. Intra-regional means collaboration among states and institutions within globally recognized geographical regions. Of course, this is a description of inter-regional and trans-regional. And for services collaboration, we try to categorize into 3 program and activities: in general, curriculum development and integration, teacher training and professional development, and research and innovation. As a big picture for us, if we want to try to make a cross-border collaboration between our nation or both countries. Next part, we try to make a snapshot of our joint activities in supporting science development. The first one, based on the first potential role of aspect, quality and global competitiveness. Try to divide and then we explain based on the type of collaboration, intra-regional and trans-regional. The next, explain about, or we elaborate, start from collaboration program until the collaboration activities. Curriculum development as an example, curriculum development and integration, the collaboration activity that we can try to conduct between Undana and UNTL, joint degree program, cross-border KKN. KKN, it's community services for students. Yeah. And then integrated STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, into a curriculum tailored to the regional characteristic of Timor Island. Teacher training and professional development, for example, activities that we can try to conduct between both university, mentorship, and peer support, faculty exchange, joint training workshop. And for research and innovation aspect, joint funding, laboratory and publication research, student internship in the industrial sector, joint supervision, and acceptance of foreign students could be several activities that we can conduct in terms of collaboration between universities. For the type of trans-regional collaboration, we also try to make a different activities based on the, each program, research and innovation, all the activity that we can try to share or we can try to conduct joint hosts of international conference like today, and also establishment of research consortium. I do agree with Mr. President. He said that for the future, we will try to establish a university in Timor Island. This is a very good very good idea from Mr. President. At the cross border, we try to establish a university in both countries. We can start with the research consortium or research center. Next. Next, based on the second potential role aspect, we also try to make the same graphic, try to make the same explanation how from the role aspect into the program or collaboration activities between Undana and UNTL, Indonesia and Timor-Leste in terms of regional collaboration. Okay, next. The last part of our presentation, challenges and recommendation. From our insight, there are 4 challenges and 6 recommendations that we can try to think together. Resource limitation, access and equity, cultural attitude toward science and brain drain are several challenges that we need to find a solution for us to strengthen our collaboration, to make a productive and give advantages for our people, especially for our students and all the stakeholders in higher education aspect. Recommendation, there are 6 recommendations. It's our insight for collaboration, cross-border institution, higher education institution, invest in infrastructure and resources, strengthen teacher training programs, promote interdisciplinary learning, foster collaboration, engage communities, and create incentive for retaining talent. There are 6 recommendations based on not fully research investigation, but also based on our experience as a university leader. Next, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Jeffrey Balhe Derek. Yes, I guess it is great. You know, Mr. President has mentioned the possibility of having a cross-border education university. Is running for the next rector of Nusa Cendana University in the next few months. Well, we wish. I'm pretty optimistic because Mr. Your president has said that he's also ready for supporting it financially. And I guess as a Nobel Peace Prize winner, he must have a lot of money to support that university. Again, thank you, Prof. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have around 50 minutes for discussion. You may ask questions to both speakers. But then please introduce yourself, mention your name, and then your affiliation, institution, and then please tell us to whom you will address your question. And in that sense, I let you to please ask your questions to both of the speakers, please. Yeah, just mention your name, please, sir.
Thank you very much for the chance given. I think I'm feeling very proud to be here because of this cooperation and the first international conference of Undana and Wentel. So feeling very happy to participate. And I think I want to first address my question to Dr. Helder.
Sorry, gentlemen, can you please mention your name, please?
My name is Marcos Antonio Amaral.
Yeah.
I'm from the Faculty of Education of Wentel.
Okay.
My question first to address to Dr. Helder da Costa as the General Secretary of the G7 Plus. I think very happy that we are also a peaceful country, in particular between Indonesia and Timor-Leste. And you also state some countries that they're very peaceful in the world. I just want to know from you what kind of criteria or factors contribute to the country that they are graded in number 1 or 2 there peacefully. Is that because of the absence of war or no war, or is there something else that make these countries very peaceful? And that is my question. And the second one I'm addressing to my brother from Undana. I'm saying brother because we are living on Timor Island. I think you really agree that the president, we're very happy because that's a very good idea to build, sharing sciences between Timor-Leste and West Timor people. And I think that very, important for us. And then I think there will be very important for us to learn from each other, especially from Timor-Leste and West Timor. I don't know, how will you think about this? This is because it's a long way, a short way maybe. How you build this university? Is that there will be some legal process? I don't know whether it's part of you only East Timor and West Timor, or is there something else that you need to come up with so that this is will be, because it's between two nations, not between East Timor and West Timor, but between Indonesia and East Timor or Timor-Leste. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Marcus, from School of Education of UNTL. I guess the question is great. The questions are great, very clear. The first one is addressed to Mr. Helder Costa. What are the criteria, so that TLS should meet, so that you can then this country can be number 1, the most peaceful country in the world. I guess that's the question. So please, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, yes, I guess let us move to the next participant to ask question. And I guess after 2 or 3 questions, then we will answer your question. Yeah, please. Okay. Yes, sir, please. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Delphine Da Costa. I'm a lecturer at the Faculty of Agriculture, Department of Agronomy. I'm glad to attend this international conference and then to have His Excellency General Director of G7 Plus, Dr. Da Costa, as well. I'm also Da Costa. But here I'm interested to raise my question related to the role of G7 Plus here in Timor-Leste. As you mentioned in your presentation earlier that there is a fundamental role on the peace, development, and stability. My question is, what are the concrete programs that G7 Plus has to engage universities? As today we are gathered here, most of us are from universities, to engage university to achieve peace, development, and stability, especially in regarding with the statement of His Excellency, our President, Dr. Ramos Horta, this morning, to have a cross-border university in the future. So what are the concrete programs that G7 Plus could have, or you have it already, so that we can achieve peace, stability, and development here in Timor-Leste? That's all from my side. Thank you.
Sir, now let us move to the next person. Yeah, please.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Elivania Alves Correa. I'm as an alumni from Faculty of Agriculture. So I will address my question to the Mr. Helder. So as your presentation has mentioned about the Timor-Leste current condition and situation, as we all know that Timor-Leste is one of the multi-dimensional poverty, 46%, and also as we know that Timor-Leste economic is heavily depends on the petroleum farm that accounted for now is 2025 is accounted for 83%. And as you also have been presented to diversify economic. So how is G7 Plus, your policies and strategies to diversify the economy? Is that through accession to the WTO and ASEAN that will help us to be more resilient, to move out from those like fragilities, from our fragilities, our condition? So this is from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Nona, your name, please?
Elivania Alves Correa. Elivania Alves.
Yeah, okay. Let's say any, yeah? Is it okay? Sorry. Elivania, okay. Yes. Two more. Sorry. Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you very much. My name is Acacio Cardoso Amaral, the president of Institute Politano. I have a very short question to Dr. Elder. You know, there is a small G7 plus and also a big G7 plus. Different from big G7 plus, they are rich countries, and for this one, it's a fragile countries. And we are leading this small G7 plus. I was wondering to know, economically, what do we benefit from it? I believe we have spent a lot of money on this, and what is the return on this one? I know politically this is like an agent for us to go international. But I just want to hear from you, is it a burden economically to the country, or it brings great benefit to Timor-Leste. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Akasio. Yeah. Okay, one more person to ask question. Yeah. Okay, please. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. I think I just tried to Dr. Elder. From your presentation, you just mentioned that, my name is Paulo Correa. So you just mentioned the percentage of peace that you mentioned, but on the other hand, we have the percentage of corruption is quite high, linked to the number of poverty yes, it mentioned 42 or 43%. I'm wondering if we are not going to the out of the, what they call that one, we're going back to the conflict, I mean, because you can have peace, but on the other hand, the corruption number is increased, or is quite high. It's not good, I think. Even the border is no problem, but I wonder also if this can provoke some tension in the country if you cannot solve. I want to hear your perspective on this issue, because you need to link those issues, cannot only just peace there, but other point like corruption and poverty is quite big. Just to get your perspective on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Paulo. Yeah, I guess, hopefully we can then move to the next session for asking questions and answering questions. But then let us give the speakers to answer the questions that have been asked by 5 of us here. Yeah, please, Dr. Helder Costa, to answer the questions.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, all the questions coming from various professors and also from alumni, right? Yeah, in Ivania. But before I answer, I wanted to greet Magnific Rector who just arrived, and congratulations on the passing of the resolution of your Statute of UNTL, at the Council of Ministers. How do I know? Because I also have my links with the Council of Ministers. Right. Thank you. Right. I won't respond one by one, but out of those questions that posed to me, there is a common theme. Yeah? The theme is that peace is a global commodity. Why Ukraine and Russia are not having peace? Palestine and Israel, DRC and Congo, Congo and Rwanda, and others conflict around the world. There are a lot of factors. One is that geopolitical tensions. Another one is driven by the greed of natural resource management in order to enrich the country to supply things to the people. That's why major powers are engaging in this kind of hegemony, tensions among themselves. But to answer Professor Marcos de Moral's question, what are the criteria? When I mentioned the Institute of Economic and Peace, they do have a number of criteria. I think around 12 or so criteria there. One of them is the degree of political violence post-elections. Yeah. We, as I mentioned in my presentation, Timor-Leste, we don't have any major scale of political violence. I think my colleague, Professor Cotrial here, knows better. As a jurist, he knows. Yeah, over the past elections, now we don't have any major political tensions, especially killing each other, or which create a lot of displaced people and so on, as opposed to the one that recently took place in Mozambique, another CPLP country. Oh, by the way, when I say this political violence, with the G7 Plus, we also mount a mission of observation of election in 5 countries over the past 2 years. We went to Guinea-Bissau, we went to Sierra Leone, we went to Liberia, Timor-Leste, and the latest one was in the Solomon Islands, April last year. You know, I say this to our colleagues. We were very impressed the way the political parties rallied during the campaign before the elections. Guess what? In those countries, the elections, the campaign can happen up to midnight. What on earth? Elections happen in the midnight. In Guinea-Bissau, I believe my colleague, he knows, in Guinea-Bissau, the chronic reputation that they have this coup d'etat, if you do have the elections at night time, goodbye. But 2 years ago when we observed the elections, it just blown us away. Why? Because how on earth the PAGCC, the party, the biggest party, the PRS and all the other big parties, crisscrossing each other, zero violence, in the middle of the night. The same thing happened in Solomon Islands, in Liberia, in Sierra Leone. Then we say this to them, look, you taught us a big lesson, that in Timor-Leste, our election is highly regulated, right? From the CNE. When you do the campaign period from 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock up to 6 p.m. Beyond that, it is considered infringement of the campaign code, right? Yeah. No campaign allowed until midnight. And I said, if it happened to my country, 3 places it can end up. Hospital, cemetery, or prison. They laughed, yeah? This is about experience sharing. So we should be proud as a Timorese that there is no political violence in our cycle of democracy. Second point, you need to have a vibrant private sector. Because by having private sector development in our country, it can also provide jobs, economic jobs, right, to the young people, those who are jobless. And this will ease the pressure and the burden of the government. And that in itself translates to what? Translates to peaceful environment. Imagine if people have jobs, believe me, sira labaturi gangs na tur rega malu hem tuanan. Hotu tu fila ba uma kole na tobana. Sorry. Nanti be explain to kapaya ko beta na. In bahasa Kupang. So that's another criteria. Another criteria is that you need to incentivize economic stimulus to the local economy here. So that providing them microcredits, providing them small enterprise and so on, so people can have access to credit so that they can do small business. You can see it here in Timor-Leste, people can do things so that you avoid violence at a large scale. So those are the criteria. And with Timor-Leste, despite our fragility, I have to say this, despite our fragile economic conditions, there is a willpower from the government and the CCITL, which is now stronger, no? And they have this partnership to be able to come up with several policies in order to stimulate the local economy. So this, if I answer the question, this would be some criteria. So, well, other countries, this simply doesn't exist. Accumulation of power through corruption, the accumulation of wealth, cronyism, accumulation that whoever is in the government, they handpick and cherry pick, like choosing each other in the government, and you politicize, partidarize the government, institutions. And in the end, it doesn't get any further. To the second point from Professor Delphine da Costa, lecturer of Faculty of Agriculture. I don't have the concrete answer to you right now, but what I can say is that here is the spirit of the G7 Plus is to promote peace, dialogue, and stability, as I said, based on mutual respect and non-interference. Now, in the context of what President mentioned in his speech to establish this grand idea of Timor Island University, it's a thought-provoking. It's worth exploring from all of us. Of course, in the end, it comes to finance, comes to human resource, and all the necessary infrastructure. But the grand idea is there. Now, to get to this idea, to operationalize, to get materialized, what is the precondition? You need to have a peace in our country, especially peace in the border. Without peaceful atmosphere, environment in the border, forget it. Ita hafu mau helan se busa fulau, ita lara au baoing. Sorry, Pak. So this is my answer to you. Yeah, but that's why our program at the country level here, from the G7 Plus perspective, is to work with Ministry of Interior, especially with the Direção Prevenção de Conflito, and PNTL, and Arts Martial, and so on, to go and do outreach in different municipalities. We have done this. And we went there and sharing the experience from other countries. Mr. Habib here, can you please stand up, please? He's from Afghanistan. He's my deputy. Nia kuliah tetung, nia helahnya tinan sanur resin tolona. Agora dag nia apply at say citizen, penduduk, citizen of Timor-Leste. And he's in the process, and I hope soon he will be granted the citizen of Timor-Leste. Jangan buka kartu lah. What I want to say this to him, he is a taekwondo, right? A kung fu. Yeah. He's a kung fu master. So we went to Zumalai. He, in front of labaris arte marcial, sir hal problem Zumalai. Ni aplica ni kung fu basira sirnya. Mas kung fu ne emahanuri amper hu di bela diri. Laos perawat batakai ma. So that was the simple message that he delivered from his point of view, his expertise as a kung fu master. Wala barsi no sare we malay nenten masih kan dia klik lali kana sana. So this is a nice message that we convey to the local people. Yeah? Small little things. No need to think about big. Small little things, but the main thing is to create peaceful environment so people can enjoy their life. And in the context of sustainable development goals, my dear professor, I suggest you go back and search the goal, sustainable goal, SDG number 16, building peaceful atmosphere, promote effective institutions and justice. These are the conditions that the G7 Plus is fighting for. Had not because of the G7 Plus fought for that, adios, the goal number 16 would not exist. Because you know why? The Security Council, they said that this is the prerogative right of the UN Security Council to talk about security and peace. No one else can talk. We said, no, we the G7 Plus, peace has to happen in our district, in our rural, and in our village, before you talk about the global level. So this just want to share the dynamics of the discussion at the global level. This is to answer your question, the last one, about the economic benefit. Every investment, you don't get the political economic benefit immediately. You will get this in the long run. I have to say that the political capital that we invest over the past 15 years, I tell you, recently we successfully conducted the 15 years anniversary of G7 Plus here in Dili, Timor-Leste. Yeah? You saw how big it was, the event that took place in Dili Convention Center. The ministers came and they praised Timor-Leste's visionary role by bringing together these fragile and conflict-affected states. If my analogy, if I may share with you, students who are studying international relations, back in 1955, in Bandung, the spirit of Bandung, what did they come up with? The Conferência Ásia-África Bandung. What is the outcome? The non-aligned movement, which is now 70 plus years, still recognized as one of the platforms of countries from the global south. Back in 2010, our leaders gathered together here in Dili. They came up with this G7 Plus in the margin of the first international dialogue on peace building and state building. And the outcome is what? The G7 Plus, which is now recognized at the global level. So this is a political capital for Timor-Leste as an arm to complement the foreign policy of Timor-Leste in order to be able to convince other people regarding our agenda at the global level. Economically, yes, those countries are really rich in natural resources. Now the question is that how do we, among ourselves, promote this economic cooperation so that we can have these diplomatic relations, and one day, you never know, that Guinea-Bissau can export cashew nuts, because the main export of Guinea-Bissau is cashew nuts. If they want to come to ASEAN, they could use Timor-Leste port to become the entry point in order to export the cashew nuts to ASEAN. So this is the potential cooperation that we can develop within the G7 Plus in the future. Please interrupt me, ya. Jangan sungkan-sungkan ya. Yes, thank you. To Professor, the alumni of agriculture, 46% poorest and so on. Yes, when I mentioned today, this is like, because of the time constraint, I had to rush. But reducing poverty is very, very difficult. Yeah. You have to invest heavily in the rural area, right? So that, because our majority of our population live in a rural area, right? So that means that in order to reduce the poverty, the first thing, invest heavily in rural area. Diversify our economy from the base towards, but what happens now is that we call Dili-centric development, unfortunately, yeah? This is what happening. So I challenge my dear colleagues, academics here, you do the research, you know? A lot of urbanization is happening, migration is happening, so how do we do the reverse, you know? But the only country that reduced poverty so fast is China, yeah? Within the last 10 years, they were able to reduce poverty. But Timor-Leste, I've seen this figure all year round, before 49%, now it's about 41%, right? Now, in order to know the degree of poverty, whether it has increased or reduced, it needs another measure assessment, measure study to be done by the World Bank, by a university, in partnership with universities, academics, and only then we will know whether the poverty has been decreased. But I do agree that it needs to develop this in the productive sector so that we can ease up the dependency on the oil and gas sector that Timor-Leste is facing. The last one, to Dr. Paulo Correa, very good question, Professor. The interlinkage between peace, corruption, and fragility. You know, corruption sometimes can increase, can also decrease. It depends on the magnitude, how the policymakers and those who are the so-called elites in the government or in the policy circle can mass up and mass all the wealth of the nations. But what I can say here is that experience from the G7 plus countries, we need to tackle that. Because the perception of the corruption is very high. You know, some of the countries, they want to support the donors, especially. They want to support the G7 plus countries. But the biggest risk for them is that if we want to help country A, our biggest risk is that if the money could end up in the wrong pocket. This is about the perception of corruption. That's why I'm glad to say that Timor-Leste, despite the hardship that we face, is slowly increased. Yeah, as I mentioned in the slide, that the perception index is slightly increased. Now, final point. What I'm saying is that all of this we discussed here, again, back to the notion of peace dividend. We all have to fight for. If you don't have peace at the country level, then this country is unstable and we won't be able to do anything. Can you imagine that just the worst case scenario, let's say our brothers and sisters from Kupang, if we have a tension, for example, in Naktuka or whatever, if for some reason some crazy military guy come here and then impose something or do something in Naktuka or at least has some implications in the border area, we can even move to across the border. And then in the end, we will be entering another country. Oh, Indonesia and Timor-Leste are having tensions. Yeah? So this is no good for us. It is not in the interest of Indonesia, nor in the interest of Timor-Leste. So we have to maintain peace. So as a student, as a G7+, as academic, our main contribution is this: maintaining peace, sustaining peace, and preserving peace, so that we can continue to do our work at the highest level. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Herder da Costa. Very great answer. Yeah. Yes. I guess some questions are also related to Indonesian condition. Yeah. Yes, we have peace, although in some cases, like West Papua, perhaps there is a little problem there. But in general, Indonesia is also a peaceful country. But then some people say that, look, how long can then we keep this being peaceful when some people are still suffering from poverty, and then some Indonesian great leaders are, in quotation mark, are corruptive. Yeah? So these are questions that need to be answered by, I guess, all of us here. Yeah? East Timorese and Indonesian as well. And I'm very happy to listen to your answers, and that's great. Yeah? And we'll discuss this further perhaps next year when we have this, the second conference in Kupang, yeah, on this. Yeah. Now, let us move to Prof. Jeffrey. Please, one question. How will we build the university that you see embrace East Timor and Timor-Leste and then West Timor advance? Please, sir. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Brother Marcus. In Bahasa we said Bro Marcus. Yeah. Bro Marcus. Okay, thank you for your good questions. From my opinion, Timor Island University is not just an excellent idea from Mr. President, but it's also a breakthrough. By Timor Island University, we can show to the world what is the safe, the peace, and the real cross-border in terms of higher education sector. So it's a breakthrough, prototype, and model that we can show to the world. The problem is, frankly speaking, I don't know. What is the short way, the fastest way, the long way to realize our dream together to have or to establish this kind of university? In principle, we can make it. Cross-border education exists through years, through decades. In terms of policy, we have policy compliance to focus on global competitiveness and sustainable services between Indonesia and Timor-Leste, especially UNTL and also Undana. So, based on policy sector, I think there is no problem. From the perspective of activities, we have a huge number of activities that we did between university, Undana and UNTL, and also other university in Timor-Leste. We have cross-border activity of students, research collaboration, and so on. So, based on principle, policy, and activities, we have no problem to realize the Timor Island University. So the main key for us to have this kind of university is a regulation aspect for government level between, I think, Mr. President. Yeah. So from my point of view, I will ask Mr. Rector of UNTL, discuss with Mr. Ramos Horta, and then Mr. Ramos Horta will discuss, and Mr. Prabowo, and voila, the university is there. Yeah. So it's from my opinion. Yeah. So I think that's the short way if you want to realize our university, a cross-border university in Timor Island between Timor-Leste and Indonesia. So the closing statement from me, if there is a will, there is a way. So the question is how big our will, how strong our will. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof, for your great answer. We still have around 14 minutes for this session. Now, Prof. Rector, Prof. Joao Martins is here with us. Welcome again. Can you please say something concerning the topics or whatever? Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah.
I should go. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. Apology that I was not able to be with you guys this morning, just because of a very important agenda with the Council of Ministers, which already announced by my colleague, my brother, Dr. Elder Da Costa. So congratulations to UNTL, the revised statute has been approved. Parabéns ao UNTL, também o Estatuto FON está aprovação unanimidade, o Conselho dos Ministros deve ter a questão técnica para a publicação e para a promulgação, o Sr. Presidente. Well, the discussion is very good. I follow a little bit when I came in and my elder terminate his presentation, and I follow Dr. Jeffrey's presentation. And also capturing the discussion from the floor on the idea of having a Timor Island University. I think it's a great idea, but to get there would be a little bit a challenge for us to the realistic way is that now we are doing this conference and sharing knowledge between our researchers, our academicians from West Timor and also from Timor-Leste. I think this communication, this sharing of experience and sharing of the research activities and also mobility of the lecturers and students, these are the things that we can promote. But we cannot undermine that idea that still become a dream in the future. If this can be realized, it would be great for Timor, so that we can show to the world. And I think we will require a lot of support from G7 Plus to ensure that this also will contribute to peace, to the peace existent in this island of Timor. I think G7 Plus has already promote peace all around the world, particularly in the fragile countries. But in Timor-Leste, in our aldeias, in our sukus, in our municipios, in our country, we must also work together to promote peace internally, and externally we sell this peace to other countries as well. And obviously, peace between the border areas is very important, because cross-border economy, cross-border cultural celebration festivities are very, very important. Daily happen. And so we must not sacrifice those things just because of the absence of the peace. Once again, thank you very much. It's great that UNTL and Undana materialized this idea. This conference should have happened last year in November, but unfortunately due to technical problems, we were not able to do it in Waikusi. But today we continue to work. I'm grateful to the Vice Director, Dr. Afonso, and also from Dr. Anita. The two are very, very, we should give a big applause to these two. So through their hard working, today we are here, and then we can have our friends from Undana and also our friends from Timor-Leste. We can share the presentation, we can hear each other about the progress, about the future collaboration in education, in research, and also in innovation and technology. I think that's the last message from me. But we'll continue to have discussions over today in the afternoon as well as tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director, Prof. Joe Martins. We still have, you see, 9 minutes before we stop. You see, we need to be very disciplined in using time. So I guess if we have one more question, then it will be great. Unless, okay, yes, please. Yeah.
Thank you very much for the change. One short question. First of all, thank you very much for the presentation. I want to address my question to the Prof. Fede. In the presentation, you mentioned about brain drain as a challenge, right? So I want to ask what strategy that, a specific strategy that you overcome about this challenge. Thank you.
Sorry, your name, sir?
Andreas.
Andreas, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Student.
Yeah, okay, student, okay. Thank you, Andreas. Please. Oh, sorry, Prof. Jeffrey, yeah, sorry.
Mr. Andreas, thank you for your questions. About the challenges of brain drain, yeah, we also try to explore the recommendation for this kind of challenge. Based on experience in our country, we have the policy to create incentive for retaining talent. So we can try to keep the good individual of researchers in our country so they can stay and work in Indonesia or in higher education institution based on the incentive that they can get with all the activity in university or research centers like LIPI. Yeah, we have a research center in Indonesia like LIPI. They get a more incentive for all the activity in research. So by that, we can retain our talent to stay in our country. So it's a simple policy for Indonesia. And also a scheme, specific scheme research for individual with a good talent. They will have a specific scheme for research. And the amount of money is huge compared to the usual or scheme on our ministry. They have a specific scheme from Kementerian Keuangan, ya, Finance Ministry, and also from Higher Education Ministry. So it's not a regular scheme. They will have specific scheme for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Jeffrey. Well, I guess, yeah, now we come to the end of this session. Again, thank you very much for the great speakers and for your great questions, responses, and Prof. Parektor for your ideas and so on. Now, it is time to close this session, and the committee says that we will then move to lunch room after this. So thank you very much and enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
We'd like to ask all the speakers to remain in the stage. Thank you very much to all our speakers for these very insightful presentations.
I would like to invite Professor Dr. Zong Suarez Martins, Professor Helu Makai, PhD, and Professor Dr. Aurelio Guterres to hand the gift from UNTL to our speakers. It's a little gift from UNTL to untuk mengenang konferensi hari ini, so we hope that you like it. Ladies and gentlemen, the first session has come to an end, so we'd like to invite all the distinguished guests and all the students to have a lunch break. Thank you.